G'day, you're listening to 3CIR's show where experience gets the respect it deserves. I'm Joel Slate-Cairns, former Army, perpetually caffeinated and unreasonably excited about turning hard-earned skills into real-world wins.
And I'm Ryan Jury Delaney, also ex-military, here to keep Slate honest and keep you smiling while we unpack the serious stuff. If you're new, welcome to the crew. Around here, we live by a few words that shaped our service and still shape this show. Courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. That's 3CIR's DNA, right?
Couldn't have said it better. 3CIR was founded by ADF Army vets who wanted to make transitions smoother. That shift from uniform to civvies can feel like changing languages. Our mission is to translate. We help veterans, emergency services, and civilians convert real experience into nationally recognized qualifications, mostly through RPL and online learning.
Wherever you're listening, on a commute, on patrol, or elbows deep in lunch prep, we're here to give you sharp, no fluff takeaways you can act on today. And today's topic is one we get asked about constantly. How do I get qualified without going broke or spending 2 years in night classes?
Cost-effective credentials. Let's just call it what it is: how to qualify without torching your wallet or your weekends. Recognition of prior learning, RPL for short, is the hero of this story.
We're going to break down what RPL actually is, how it works in plain English, the money and time it saves, who benefits the most, and exactly how to stack your evidence so assessors go, yep, this person's competent. And stick around, because later we've got a few sneaky tips that bump your success rate way up, plus something special for our Defence and Emergency Services family.
Also, a little teaser. Next episode, we're zooming in on emergency services pros, turning frontline experience into formal quals through RPL. If you've ever thought, does my incident response, patient care, or community safety work count? Okay, quick spoiler, it does, and we'll show you how.
Right, set the scene. You've been crushing it at work for years. You lead teams, manage risks, solve problems, and your results speak for themselves. But on paper, it's thin. You're missing that nationally recognised certificate that HR keeps asking for.
That's the career choke point. In or out can come down to a line that says Diploma of Leadership and Management or Certificate for in Security Ops. The hard part is, traditional courses cost thousands, plus textbooks, plus time off, and suddenly this qualification feels like a second full-time job.
Enter RPL. Think of it as a formal assessment that maps your real-world skills to what's in the national training packages. Instead of proving you can learn something new, you prove you've already been doing it, and doing it to the standard Australia recognises.
For the curious, this all sits inside the VET system, assessed by registered training organisations, overseen by the Australian Skills Quality Authority, and benchmarked to the Australian Qualifications Framework. That's a lot of acronyms to say it's legit and nationally portable.
And here's why your wallet is going to love this. An RPL pathway typically costs something like 20 to 40% of what a full course would. Not only the dollars, it's the time saved. Most RPL assessments wrap in about 4 to 8 weeks, not months or years, so you're not losing income or missing job opportunities while you sit in lectures learning something you literally taught your last team.
I had a mate, 20 years in logistics, absolute wizard with supply chains, inventory systems, and crisis resupply. No diploma. He was getting edged out by younger managers with shiny papers, went through RPL, mapped his deployments, his SOPs, his KPIs, a few major projects. 8 weeks later, he had the Diploma of Logistics. Salary bumped, new role, done.
This is where people go, hang on, if it's faster and cheaper, is it the same quality? Short answer, yes. Under the AQF, an RPL issued qualification is identical to one earned through classroom training. Employers don't see an asterisk next to it. The parchment doesn't whisper, this person avoided lectures and saved their sanity.
Exactly. Your competence is what's being recognised. The key difference is how you prove it. Instead of completing assignments and attending classes, you provide solid evidence you already meet the competency standards. Let's break that down.
The practical flow. Step 1 is a chat, a pre-assessment consultation to figure out the right qualification for your background, probably the most underrated part of the process. A good assessor can save you money by matching you to the qualification you're actually ready for, not the one that looks shiny on LinkedIn.
Then comes portfolio development. That's you pulling together all the proof. Work samples, job descriptions, references, training certificates, performance reviews, incident reports, project charters, rosters you wrote, risk assessments you signed off. If you taught others, bring session plans. If you improved a process, show the before and after.
People often worry, my experience is all in my head. Cool, let's get it out. You can write detailed accounts of what you've done, get stat decks if needed, grab testimonials from supervisors or clients. The trick is to tie each piece of evidence to specific competencies from the training package. That's the language assessors read.
And if you don't know where to find those competencies, they're in the national training packages on training.gov.au. But you don't have to spelunk through it alone. 3CR and our RTO partners will guide you through the mapping. That's our bread and butter.
After the portfolio, the assessor might do an interview, a workplace observation, or a practical demonstration, depending on the qual. Think of it like a professional conversation that confirms what your evidence says. No pop quizzes, no surprise trigonometry.
Now, cost and time, let's put some numbers on it. A full diploma course can run into the thousands, plus materials, plus maybe unpaid time if you need days off. With RPL, you're paying for the assessment, not the delivery of content, so the fee is a fraction. Then time-wise, 4 to 8 weeks is normal if your evidence is organised. I've seen folks smash it in under a month when they were ready.
And that's just the upfront saving. There's the opportunity side. The sooner you get qualified, the sooner you can apply for roles that require it, ask for the salary band that expects it, and get the project assignments that assume it. Time literally is money here.
Let's talk industries. Where does RPL shine the brightest? Anywhere experience speaks louder than a textbook. Construction is big. Site supervisors and WHS managers with years on the tools. Hospitality and retail, store managers. Operations leads, people who've run P&L and teams through chaos seasons. Aged care and childcare. Frontline carers stepping into leadership or coordination roles. Security operations. Guards and team leaders with complex compliance experience.
Business admin and leadership and management are classic fits. All those folks who kept the wheels turning without the title. Then there's professional services like IT, HR, marketing and project management. If you've been leading sprints, running stand-ups or executing campaigns, there's a qual that mirrors what you do.
Trades? Massive. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, mechanics, apprenticeships and years on site build competencies that line up with national standards. You might have half your units ticked off before you start, depending on your body of work.
And the fun ones. Renewable energy, digital marketing, cybersecurity. People pivoting from adjacent fields can get recognised fast. If you've been the unofficial cyber guardian in your unit, or you've moved a business's marketing from flyers to funnels, that counts, us.
Alright, strategy? How do you maximize your RPL success rate? Preparation. Start with the end in mind. Look up the specific qualification and read the units. You don't need to love policy speak, just scan for the verbs and nouns. Lead, implement, monitor, evaluate, systems, risk, stakeholders, budgets. Then pick evidence that proves you did exactly those things.
Build an evidence grid. Doesn't need to be fancy. One column for the unit, one for the competency statement, then a list of evidence that covers it. That's like turning on runway lights for your assessor. No guesswork, no back and forth.
Quantify. We love numbers. Instead of I improved the process, say I reduced report turnaround by 42% across a 16-person team within 3 months. Instead of I trained people, say I designed and delivered a 2-day onboarding for 25 officers, measured knowledge gain of 30%, and reduced incidents by 15% the next quarter.
Get testimonials that speak to competencies, not just character. Don't just say Ryan's a legend. Say Ryan led multi-agency briefings, coordinated 4 stakeholders under time pressure, and delivered on budget. Bang. That lines up with leadership, communication, and project controls.
And ask for professional guidance early. A good assessor can spot gaps in minutes. They'll go, "You've got leadership nailed, but we need a budget you managed." Or, "This shows you followed the SOP, but we need evidence you wrote or improved one." That saves weeks of guesswork.
Organization helps. Lay it out clean, label your files. If your evidence looks like your car boot after a camping trip, nobody's happy. If it looks like a mission pack, everyone breathes easier.
Let's hit a few myths while we're here. Myth 1. RPL is the easy way out. No, it's the efficient way through for competent people. The bar is the same. You're proving competence, just through experience instead of classroom hours.
Myth 2. Employers don't rate RPL the same. False. Under the Australian qualifications framework, there's no second-class stamp. HR sees the qual and moves on to the interview. The only time people hesitate is when they don't understand RPL, and that's fading fast.
Myth 3. I can't do RPL while working. You can. It's designed for it. Consultations are flexible, evidence gathering is self-paced, and there's no class to attend. Most folks do it around shift patterns or weekends and come out the other side wondering why they didn't start sooner.
Quick story from the field. I worked with a former sergeant who'd basically been running a mini business unit disguised as a platoon. Rosters, budgets, equipment lifecycle, training, stakeholder management with the community and other agencies. He kept calling it just the job. We mapped it to a diploma of leadership and management and a certificate IV in training and assessment. His only comment at the end was, I didn't realize I'd already done the hard part.
That's the line, isn't it? You've already done the hard part. RPL just turns the lights on. And because we're 3CIR, we've got to talk about our veterans and emergency services personnel. Your experience is gold for RPL. Leadership, logistics, comms, security ops, training, crisis management, community engagement. It all maps.
And we put our money where our mouth is. There's a 25% discount for current and former Defence and Emergency Services pros. It's a concrete thank you and it makes the jump more affordable. If you've ever priced a full course and then seen what RPL costs with that discount applied, it's the moment you start texting your mates.
Civilians listening, don't tune out. This isn't a closed shop. If you're working, leading, solving, you're building an RPL case every day. We help a lot of people in business admin, WHS, security, HR, marketing, project management. You don't need to have worn a uniform for your experience to count.
FAQs time. People write in with the same questions, so let's run them rapid fire. How much does RPL cost compared to a full course? Usually 20 to 40% of the equivalent course fee, depending on the qualification and how much evidence you can bring.
How long does it take? Typically 4 to 8 weeks. If you're super organized, potentially faster. If your evidence needs building, add a couple of weeks and you're still miles ahead of a 12-month course.
Can I work full-time while doing it? Absolutely, that's the point. It's flexible, self-paced, built around your life.
What evidence do I need? Work samples, job descriptions, performance reviews, training certificates, project reports, testimonials, and detailed accounts of what you actually did. If you taught, bring session plans. If you led, bring rosters, budgets, risk registers. Your assessor will tell you exactly what lands for your target quals.
Do employers recognise RPL the same as traditional qualifications? Yes. Under the AQF, a qualification is a qualification, regardless of the pathway.
Is there a success guarantee? What we guarantee is a thorough pre-assessment consult so you don't start a qualification that doesn't fit. That step alone boosts success rates massively and avoids wasting cash.
Can I upgrade my existing qualification through RPL? Yep. If you've grown since your last certificate, RPL can recognise your new experience and help you step up without going back to full-time study.
Another good one we hear. Is the assessment scary? It's more like a professional conversation plus paperwork than an exam. You're not performing to trick questions. You're demonstrating what you already do.
Now, big question. How do you actually start? Easiest way is to hit 3CIR online and use the RPL assessment form. That kicks off a free eligibility check. You tell us what you've done, we match it to potential qualifications, and you get a clear picture of cost, timeline, and what evidence you'll need.
And if you want to feel for where you're headed, check our video explainers. Leadership qualifications, HR, WHS, security ops, business admin, marketing and comms, government and public admin, project management. They're short, sweet, and give you a mental picture of what each pathway includes.
Let's talk return on investment for a minute. I had a listener write in, worked as an operations lead in retail, no formal qual, RPL cost under $1,000 after the discount their employer chipped in, took 5 weeks, and she landed a promotion that increased her salary by far more within the first quarter. That's a no-brainer ROI.
Same with a paramedic stepping into a coordinator role. RPL recognised crisis management, triage leadership, training junior staff, community liaison. He picked up a community services qualification linked to leadership. That opened a public health project role. No career timeout required.
People sometimes hesitate because they think their experience is messy. Welcome to the club. Real work is messy. That's why mapping matters. We translate messy into measurable. And if you're missing a piece for one unit, sometimes it's a quick gap assessment with a targeted activity, not a whole course.
Exactly. Another tactical tip, think across your whole career, not just your current job. Volunteer roles count. Side projects count. If you've managed a sporting club's finances or delivered training at a community centre, that can tick units in business or training and assessment.
And don't sleep on informal learning. Did you complete vendor training, webinars, micro courses? Pair those certificates with real world application and you've got a strong evidence pair, theory plus practice.
Let's swing back to the financial side one more time because this is the crux of our theme. Traditional education comes with opportunity costs. Nights you can't work overtime, weekends you miss with family. RPL strips out the redundancy. You're not paying twice to learn what you already know. You're paying once to have it formally recognised.
The other money angle is job security. In a lot of sectors, the qual isn't a nice to have, it's a seat at the table. When restructures happen, the people with recognised credentials are harder to move on. It's unfair sometimes, but it's real. RPL is the fastest way to get that box ticked without stepping away from your role.
Quality and rigour matter here. RPL isn't handing out gold stars. RTOs operate under strict ASCA standards, which means your qualification is earned. If you get it, you deserve it. And because it's identical to classroom credentials, employers can trust it.
To our defence and emergency services listeners, if no one has told you today, the skills you've built are rare and valuable in the civilian market. Risk assessment under pressure, communication across agencies, training under resource constraints, leadership when the stakes are human. Those aren't soft skills, they're critical competencies.
If you're unsure where to aim, talk to us. We'll help you pick pathways that align with where you want to go. Business, security ops, logistics, training and assessment, WHS, project management. The bridge is there. You don't have to swim it.
All right, action plan time. If this episode hit a nerve, do 3 things this week. 1, write down your last 3 big wins at work with numbers. 2, ask a supervisor or client for a testimonial that describes what you did and the outcome. 3, start the RPL assessment form on 3CIR's site so you can get a tailored roadmap.
And if you're eligible for that 25% discount as defence or emergency services, mention your service when you connect. It's automatic once verified. We built it in because that transition deserves every tailwind it can get.
Before we wrap, I want to quickly revisit something. The emotional side of all this. When you're mid-transition or mid-career shift, it's easy to feel like you're starting over. You're not, you're just changing uniforms. RPL is how you pin your campaign ribbons back on in a language HR understands.
The first time someone sees their qualification, recognizing what they've done for years, it's more than a credential, it's validation. It says, your path counts, your service counts, your experience counts.
And it literally changes bank accounts and calendars. More options, more leverage, more time, right?
Right. That's why we get fired up about this. It's not just paperwork, it's potential unlocked.
If you want more on the nitty-gritty, we've got FAQs up that answer all the usual how much, how long, and what do I need questions in one place. And a stack of short training videos to help you picture different qualification pathways. Tap through after this and line up your next step while the motivation's still warm.
We'll drop links in the show notes to the RPL assessment form, the How RPL Works explainer, and the timeframes overview. But you don't need to memorize anything. Just remember 3CIR and RPL. That combination is your shortcut without cutting corners.
All right, team, that's us for today. Next time, we're putting a spotlight on emergency services professionals and how to turn frontline experience into nationally recognized qualifications through RPL. Fire, police, AMBOs, SES. If that's you or someone you love, you're going to want this one.
Bring your questions, bring your war stories, and bring that sneaky list of units you think you've already smashed. We'll help you map it live.
Take care, keep moving forward, and don't sleep on your own experience. It's more valuable than you think.
Catch you next round.